Talk Show is brought to you by
Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Coming up next is Double Impact.
Well, hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, Sir Entrepreneur, and we're on episode number 6, and I'm here with
Hurricane H.
And together we are
Double Impact.
Episode number 6, buddy. Can you believe it? We're not babies anymore.
Yeah. Well, we're toddlers. Hey, listen, everything starts small, right? Eventually this becomes the double impact people look for. So you never know. Hey, right? It's not wishful thinking, by the way. It's really thinking and dreaming and just having a target. That's all.
And the question is, do people want an impact in your life? I mean, are you happy with your life? Not that you're not happy, okay? But I mean, do you want your life to be more than what it is right now? You're watching the wrong channel. If you want to make your life more, that's what we're here for.
Well, let me just interject with that one. I don't think anyone watching and listening right now is not interested in becoming better, no matter where you are, what level, education, age, doesn't matter. I think work, professionally, family, everybody wants to improve. I mean, I think it's a natural state where we want to do the next thing and do better. Now, some people take a little longer, I guess, or maybe they're a little lazier, or maybe they sit back a little bit. But I think everybody deep inside, they want to get to that point, right? I'm going
to say there's a good percentage, but I found that small percentage of people, maybe it's 10 or 20%. They don't want to get better, HH. They just want to move on to status quo. There are some of those people out there.
Well, you know what? We're going to leave that question to the audiences to comment on the show and tell us what do you really think about this? Because I have a firm belief that everybody wants to buy the next thing, to do something. And some people may say, well, I'm content, which is fine. You can be content. Doesn't mean you don't want to improve your life, whether it's religiously. People improve religiously, right? Improve financially, improve family-wise, education-wise. So whatever it is, if you think there are people that really don't want to have any improvement in their lives, that's a good question. We'll leave it to you guys, audiences. Chime in, send us your emails, your texts, message on Instagram, whatever, John's, links, my links. It's all in the description of the show, so we can see what's up in there. And maybe we can do it a live discussion. Somebody can come up with us, right? What do you think, John?
That'd be great.
Hey, listen, we're gonna take it up a notch, in the next couple of weeks. We're gonna go live, and you guys get to interact with us live on this. And so it'll be all your favorite channels, so the YouTubes or social media, if you call it, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those. So Twitter, Twitch, Twitter. I mean, we'll be all over the map.
And so you can ask us questions right on the air.
That's right. So we will be planning for that. Stay tuned. We'll announce it in advance. But certainly that's a big question, because it is difficult to even imagine that somebody in life is just where they are and they're comfortable and they do not want to add one little thing during the day or during their life. But again, that could be the possibility.
I've seen it from some people, and the reason I've seen it is because they've had drama every time they try to do something. So for them, they just want to stay out of drama, so they figure they don't want to improve. I'm not crazy about that. I think it's a mindset that some people got into.
Well, let's just expand on that, because people do. We all go through shit every day. I'm sorry about the French here, but we all go through stuff. I mean, there's
Parlez-vous français?
Actually I do. We. But really, guys, I mean, think about it, right? It's like we all have drama in our life. I mean, life is drama by itself. I mean, it's a movie scene, and we all are, pretty much having a cast.
We're the actors in the play every day.
That's right, and we interact. We have different, I guess, roles to play in each other's lives. But at the end of the day, there's two ways to do this. Either let it phase us or not phase us. Either let it impact us properly. Again, double impact, right? Or no impact.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, John, I think there's always an impact. It's just the question, is it positive or negative, right? So.
Well, that's a great question because, it's not if it's positive or negative, it's how you approach it. Because the way I see something could be great. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Like I told the story before about, what happens when the horse got hurt and like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, no, that's good because you see then the militia came. See, it's all how you interpret it. Mm-hmm. So when we say it's good or bad, that's not what makes it good or bad. It's how we choose to perceive that situation.
Well, I love that. It's like that. That's 6 and 9, right? Looking at it from different angle, right?
We did a video on that a while. I think it was last Halloween last year. We did a video with the 6 and the 9, and we did it in a very haunted place at a cemetery. And we had the 6 and a 9. And I was like, what are we doing here?
Well, but again, life is a perspective, right? You're right. But we know what positive is. We know what negative is. I mean, that's just, we have a standardized definition, but even that.
Absolutely. And our tools in life, like this pen or our computer or phone or what have you, they're tools.
Yes.
And they can be used, even this telephone, right? It can be used for good or for bad.
Oh, you can certainly do bad things with that. Bad phone call. Call the wrong people and tell them what's up, and cause problems.
Many of you guys don't know this. I don't mention this every day, but it's something interesting to share. I'm also a cyber fraud investigator, and it's interesting what happens with some people. I can't mention the name of the clients, but interesting what happens with some people because they have an interaction or because they haven't let go of a situation in a previous relationship. And then that person connects with them online, and suddenly, well, let's just say they try to help out their ex, and now the husband or wife finds out about it, has a lot of money, and decides, you know what? I'm coming after you. So they don't come after you directly because they're white collar, right? They're white sleeve, white collar. They hire a hitman on the undernet or the dark web to learn about you and come after you, which is what this guy did. He hired this person to come after them. And not only did he come after them, I'm talking about online, he decided to hack the Facebook account and then upload some very not suitable for work pictures and then report them. And the account got suspended. Not only did that happen, the guy went further that he paid to actually do what I call social engineering. Now, what is social engineering? That's when you actually do so much research to figure out how to, I'm almost going to call social engineering like stalking in a way, because you figure out when somebody's going to be somewhere at a certain time. So what they did is he knew the guy was probably going to be having problems. So you know what he did? He knew the guy was into, let's say he was into basket weaving. That's not what he was into. But he was into basket weaving. I don't know any guys into basket weaving. But anyway, he was into basket weaving. And so he went on Google and he planted an ad for people that look at basket weaving. And bammo, that 800 number came up. He called that number. Hello, tech support. How can we help you? I'm having an issue. Oh, yes, I see you're definitely having problems. Definitely happy to help you. There are a lot of bad people out there. Yes, and I know who you are, so you can trust me. I'm with the Microsoft or whatever team I'm with, and you're Jim, and you were born on this date, and you live in. Oh, yes, I'm a good guy, definitely good guy. Let me get on your computer. Let me see if I can help you a little more. Okay, let me get into your phone. Let me send you something on your phone. Let me see if I can help you out. Now, get this one. The person, there were a lot of things that happened. He says, we need you to just go in and out of your app, in and out, just so we can check it. Then he says, I need you to go into this one app. I'm not going to mention the name of the app. Go to the app. He says, do me a favor, send $669 to a friend of yours. $669 to a friend of yours, and have him send it right back. Now, You might be saying, why the heck did he send $669? Well, $669 is a kind of a bad or a devil number, and it actually gives them points with their cronies in the underground. And so sending it back, the guy sent 700 back. But not only that, he proceeded to take him for another 15 grand through another method. So my point is that perspective, right? You could use that computer for great things. Now, the thing is, when all that happened, why was the person so trusting? You see, when somebody says, oh, yeah, I'm a good guy, well, you're probably the first one for me to believe that you're a bad guy. So you can't tell somebody anymore, hey, I'm a good guy. If you tell them, okay, it's fine. But you can't really push that down their throat because they're like, why are you trying to make me think you're a good guy? Maybe you're not.
Overselling. That's not good.
Well, then guy keeps the number active. So he calls the number back, right? You think the guy would disconnect his number? And he's no stupid, the guy. He leaves the number live, calls him back because this is business. Hello, thank you for calling tech support. Oh, yes, hi, Jim. How are you? Can I help you? Yes. So let me get back on your computer. He said, oh, and he goes, F no, you're not get back on my computer. But he's like, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you with your problems.
Well, John, thanks for sharing that because, I know this is side discussion, but really there's a lot of that stuff that's happening out there and people call you, they send you texts and things. And if you respond to them, you know what, there's a problem. To your point, they say, okay, let me connect to your computer. I've seen that happen. And you know what, some people fall for it. It's very dangerous. Again, we all know about identity theft and all the stuff that's happening out there, the fraud, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's not. So people have to be very careful and aware. And listen, companies that are legit, they're not going to ask you for your information.
No, they're not going to ask you. And the thing that was really interesting is that social engineering is becoming more and more standard for even the black and the dark web. Because for them to go on Google, which should be illegal, and they post an ad about their tech support and they make sure it shows up because I like basket weaving, so that would target me in my city. So they spend the 20 or 30, so it would hit, and the chances of it hitting me is going to be pretty high. I see the number, I call, oh, tech support. Yeah, let me call them. They seem legit. And something like that you think is so innocent, but it isn't. And something like that takes a lot of time because they have to work at it. But you see, what they're looking for is that big payoff. They're looking for the people to pay. And I had a lady the other day who got hacked on AOL. Not her computer, but her AOL account got hacked. I called AOL and I told them, hey, this is what's happening. And they said, okay, thank you. Can you get the bad guy out of there? Oh, no, we don't get involved with that one. What do you mean I'll get involved with that one? Well, we don't handle that one. Well, if I change the password and the bad guy's still in there, tell me how that's going to help me. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to note that one too, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling AOL. And about a minute or two later, she's getting emails sent to all her relatives. Hi, this is such and such. Would you do me a favor, please? And we changed the password to something very long, a phrase. She calls me next morning. She says, John, she says, I can't get into my AOL. I had checked her computer. Everything was thorough. But I told her the problem's not 100% solved because I didn't believe it was solved. And so she says, I can't get in. So I try to log into my computer. Won't let me log in. I said, you know what they did? They suspended your account. Well, why? Well, this is what I was trying to explain to you. So then I go back over there later in the day. And yes, we did suspend the account. Well, why didn't you brilliant people actually remove the guy? Oh, we couldn't do that until it was suspended. Then they asked her to go ahead and scan and email her birth certificate or her passport and her ID. You can block that sort of information. I'm like, hell no. We'll do that, and then I'll encrypt it. Oh, okay, that's fine. So we do that. I'm going to give you the password. Oh, sorry, we can't open links and we can't use passwords for security reasons. Really? You people should talk about security. You're horrible. You're the worst. And then I'm back and forth with them on the phone. Can you fax it to us? I fax it to them. 4 hours later, next day, she said, oh, we didn't get the fax. We didn't get the fax. I sent it yesterday. Oh, well, you know what? We don't have a fax machine. Well, how'd I fax you? Well, the fax machine is in another building across the street. We don't have a fax machine in the fraud department. That's actually in our other division. And so you can't make this up, HH. So I said, what would you like me to do? Could you fax it again, please? Okay. Can you just email it to us without a password? No. Okay. Can I mail it to you via US mail? Oh, you could, but it could take a few weeks.
Well, it's going on snail mail. I'm sorry.
I was going to FedEx it, but she says that if you don't do it through their procedure, they don't do it right away. So then I politely said to her, do you know that I'm a cyber fraud investigator? Oh, what? I investigate people that cause fraud on the internet. Okay. Thank you. I'm noting that one. Thank you so much. I'm going to note that to the account. So I said to her, I said, I have this form, such and such number, and I'm getting ready to fill it out. And after I faxed them like 2 more times, the next morning I called them. I said, what's going on? Oh, we're still having an issue. It's not legible. Don't give me that. I have this form already filled out. I'm going to send it to this agency, this agency, this agency, this agency, and this place. Okay. Thank you for telling us that. We're going to note that. Okay. You have a good day. They hung up with me. In 5 minutes, they called my client back. My client calls me. John, yes. They're ready to reinstate the account now, but they said we only have 4 hours to activate it. So it's something, HH, how you have to light a fire under people. I have a client right now that's having an issue with Facebook. They're paying my team so we can send letters out to the right departments. And reaching Facebook is not easy. I can call God easier. I have his direct number. But I don't have Facebook's direct number, but I have God's direct number. So, and if I leave him a message, God calls me back. He always calls me back. It's voicemail, it's direct messaging. But when I call Facebook, due to COVID-19, we're unable to take your call. So I said, fine. So we send them letters, certified regular mail, and they get our letters. Then we go after the investors and all kinds of stuff. And it takes a lot of time because, you see, they react because they think it's fraud, which it is. But that doesn't mean you as an innocent victim should be penalized for that, HH.
Agreed. Well, it's funny because you mentioned Facebook and the phone number. I mean, I think the number that's listed anywhere in Facebook does not even operate. You can't even get through. So you were able to get some number.
That number goes to a COVID place that says, thank you for calling Facebook. Due to COVID-19 and our staff, such and such, we're not able to take your call at this time. Please leave your name and number. We'll get back to you. They never get back to you. The fax machine doesn't go anywhere. The only way they get back to you is when you start knocking on the doors of their investors, or I file a complaint or a lawsuit. And that's amazing how they call you back.
Well, it shouldn't get to that point, but you're right. I mean,
it does.
It's difficult.
It does.
A lot of these things, I mean, if you have any issues, sometimes you can't even resolve them, and it's robotic responses, and you get the runaround. You don't even.
Another big one. We know the big G company. I won't mention their name, but you know who I mean. And I have to say something, okay? You know who I mean, but I'm not mentioning the name. We figure they're supposed to be experts at this doing advertising and stuff. It's supposed to be so good. Well, now they don't even do their own advertising. They hire an outsourced company. It doesn't speak English. I don't care. They don't really speak English. That's okay. But here's all they do, HH. They're supposed to be the best in the industry, right? The best. Mm-hmm. And you figure that if they spend money and you get results, you're going to keep spending money, right? No. They get your campaign going so that it spends money and very quickly. And once they've done that, they tell you you need to spend more money. But you want to know the best thing? They don't even target the places they should be targeting. They just load a whole bunch of BS in there. And then when you try to get back to them for help, oh, so sorry. Or they suspend your account. Or we don't like your tone. Or we don't like this. They really are just an engine that crunches people's money and lies to people, HH, which is sad.
That's some big stuff there.
And when you complain about it, well, then they threaten to suspend your account.
Well, that could be a problem. I mean, they
so what I've learned with these companies, it's better to not work with them. Use them on your own. Do what you have to do, because if you could blow $25 or $50 a day and you don't get the right target, let's say you have 1 million or 2 million people hitting your ad every day, impressions. Out of that, you have 1,200 views. Out of that, you have 3 clicks. Oh, wow, that's amazing. How many conversions do we have? You ready?
0.
Oh, what about my campaign? Oh, don't worry about that. Just it's going to take about 3 to 6 months. What? It takes time. Well, why does it take time? It does. No, it doesn't take time. You've got the wrong target. Because anyone that knows anything about advertising knows you should have a conversion within 7 to 14 days. When you try to bring this to their attention, okay, are you saying you could do it better? If you don't want to work with us, then we don't work with you anymore. Then you work on your own. That's their answer, HH. And they have this big, like, higher than mighty attitude. They come on, they interview you, and they all these questions. Oh, and we're going to do this for you, and we're going to do that for you, and I'm going to get you connected with such and such specialist. That person calls you back, and sometimes they don't even call you back. They missed the appointment. Oh, was that a different time zone? Yeah. Oh, okay. I think our system probably put the wrong time in there. Then you click to reschedule. Sorry, you cannot reschedule the call because you missed the appointment. Missed the appointment. You guys missed the time. You had the wrong time zone. Okay, we're so sorry on that one. Is there anything else we can help you with today? Yeah, is there someone that actually knows what they're doing? Uh-huh. Can I get what was your name again? And what was your account number? Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm gonna escalate this. To who? I'm sorry, I can't give you that information. But you just wait. Someone's gonna reach out to you. You'll get somebody reach out. You're gonna get a message back. Thank you so much for contacting us. We have reviewed the information and we've determined that you are at fault. And either your account suspended or we can't work with you anymore. But if you have any questions, feel free to message us here. I don't get how this works, HH. They don't know what they're doing. But they rob people money every day. I got to tell you the latest story. A laptop of mine, an expensive laptop, $3,000 laptop. I don't think I told you this, did I? No. I took water. I spilled water all over my laptop keyboard. Why did I do that?
Test it. See if it
well,
delivers.
I knew that was going to probably damage the key, but why did I do that? So then I said, let me go off to my local computer superstore and just see how much it's going to cost to get this fixed. I go over there. They take a day to analyze it because they said it's very complicated. Go back there. They got a text. He says, Mr. Morley says, we're very sorry to inform you that to fix your laptop is going to be close to $1,800 plus another $250 to $400 for labor plus tax.
That's what I knew.
We have to change the whole motherboard. We got to change the keyboard. And we have to change this. We may have to change the battery, and it might be more. Really? The keyboard doesn't work, I know. But I plugged an external keyboard in and it worked. Yeah, they work for 5 or 10 minutes and then they stop working. Really? That's interesting. So he said, you want us to fix this? I said, no. I said, thank you so much. I said, you guys are a bunch of liars. Have a nice day. So I left them, went over to the manager who knows me very well. And I said to him, sir, I said, I want to tell you something. You're a nice gentleman. I said, but the people at your bar, they're a bunch of liars. And they're a bunch of con artists. And I will expose you people for the liars that you are. I won't mention your name, but they'll know who you are. So I get in front of my handy-dandy camera. Hey, everyone, it's John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here. Today, I spilled water all over my laptop keyboard. $3,000 laptop. Then I went down to the local superstore to see if they could help me. And what I found out is they're nothing but a con artist. They want to charge me $1,800. By the time we're done, close to almost $2,800 plus tax. And here's what I did. I called Lenovo. I ordered my keyboard replacement for $169 plus tax. and an hour or two of my labor, and voila, the thing's fixed for under $300. That's a big difference from $1,800. You see, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, those big super mass stores aren't the best thing for technology or for you. You see, just because they're on Wall Street or because they're on a big stock exchange, you think they're really good. Right. They're really good at getting you to perceive that they know what they're doing. And they exploit that. The gentleman that actually told me this sent me a text, didn't even call me, he texted me. I said, that was real good. Now I take the text, I paste it. Look what a local worker said at a mass store about my laptop that I fixed for under $300. So I ask you, friends, do you want to go to these mass super stores around the globe? Sometimes doing with that local computer professional makes sense. By the way, did I mention we do support Wall Street, if that's not enough a credential for you? So it was a very interesting story. And then I went back to him. I said, hey, by the way, guys, you remember that laptop that was going to cost close to $2,800 to fix? Here's the laptop. I changed the keyboard and it works.
What was the reaction? Exactly. Birds.
They didn't know what to say. I went to their manager and then I went to the corporate and I called corporate and I said, hey, I know you guys pride yourself on doing the right thing all the time, right? You would never want to mislead somebody like your predecessor, CompUSA, who went out of business. And they said, well, we always try to do that. I said, well, one of your techs, I said, decided he was going to lie to me because he decided he didn't want to fix it or he decided he wanted to just rip me off. Because remember, they make a nice commission off of that repair price. So I don't know why people do this, HH, but it makes it challenging sometimes. And I find that these stories are important because people don't know what's out there. And they just believe because they're on the map, they must be good. We had our media dinner. We didn't win the awards, but we did sponsor one of the premium platinum sponsors. I think I told you we had our valet parking. We parked close to 500 cars with our slogan, we might just be parking your car tonight. But Orbital Media, you can always be certain that we'll select the right vehicle to launch in front of your next successful client. We'll boost your image to new heights. Are you ready to get started? And that whole night, when I met with people, they're like, oh, if you're not winning, why are you here? I said, well, did you get your car parked tonight? Oh, yeah, they were very nice. Well, my company paid to have my company paid to have the car parked for you tonight. We're Orbital Media. Oh, yeah. I saw your name out there. Or, yeah, they were good. We didn't use them, but, they were very polite. We just didn't want to have them park our car because we have a very expensive car. Okay. I mean, you always get somebody that's going to be, or I have some valuables in the back seat that, we don't want to get caught with, basically. We have some things in the back seat we don't want people to find out about.
Okay, I'm not even going to ask.
I'm not even going to ask.
I'm not even going to ask.
I'm not either. But it was interesting. So it was an interesting evening. And next year, we're going to hopefully try to win a prize because I'm there the whole evening clapping for everybody, but we didn't win anything, HH.
Okay.
It's a beautiful night.
You didn't win, but you didn't lose
cheese, either. All kinds of cheese, all kinds of things. Filet mignon, a little mini biscuits, nice filet mignon cut with scalloped potatoes and asparagus, and then for dessert, a nice homemade raspberry cobbler.
Well, how did you manage with your diet? And I want to go back to the customer service and
sure.
The drama that we just covered.
With which type? With that, so I've been doing great. My diet is still on track.
Oh no, for that dinner, because you just mentioned a full menu there. Did you just cut it in 4 pieces?
So breakfast, I had a banana.
Okay.
Lunch, I had nothing.
Oh.
Dinner, I had some room.
Okay, so you saved the best for last, huh?
And yesterday was a little challenging at the picnic because I had a hamburger, no bread, hot dog, no bread, and the grilled chicken, no bread. Fine. Chocolate chip cookie, no problem. But then they have this food. You might know of this kind of food. See, I don't cook like this. Restaurants cook with a certain kind of food and ingredient that when you eat it, it makes you want more. Well, they did this with the brownies. They had chocolate chip brownies. But these brownies are the kind of brownies that when you have one, you can't have one. So I had 1.5. I knew that was expensive. I got home. And when I got home, I said, you know what? I'm going to measure myself. It was like at whatever time. And just before I was going to have a snack, it was like 5, 6 o'clock. I'm still at a 4. Ooh, that's dangerous. So I just had a cup of green tea and 2 oatmeal cookies. I measured myself the next morning. I was at a 2, not a 1, but I was at a 2.
You indulged, huh?
Today, I went to lunch. I had a salad with some steak, and I had a piece of, it was this chocolate chip pie, but I took it and divided it in fourths.
See, that's your thing. You got to divide it up, take it to go, and break it down over the week. So that's why I was asking. I mean, you had a full nice menu at this event in the gala, and then.
But I have another interesting one coming up. So this Saturday is it's 32 years, but it's actually 30 years from my high school reunion, and it's an all reunion, not just for my class, for the juniors, the sophomore, and the freshmen. Get this, it's $150. And it's a stand-up cocktail. I'm hoping they're going to do more than just cocktail. Like, there should be some food there.
There's going to be some appetizers and
heavy apps. But I'd rather sit down and have a nice dinner. The other night, the dinner was $200.
And you paid for that.
But I got some good food.
All right.
Well, and they kept coming. Oh, did you want it? Could you help me out, please? What's the matter? I have some fresh. I have an empanada. They're really small. Could you please help me out? I'll take one. Okay. Comes back later on. She said, could you help me out? I only have one more on the plate. I said, no, thank you. Comes back. Oh, I have mini cheeseburgers. Would you help me out? Yeah, I'll take a cheeseburger, but I need to take it without the bread. Oh, okay, sure. Or she comes back. She says, I have fresh tuna tartare. Would you help me out? No, thank you.
Yums.
So I had that. The filet mignon was got a few of those. It's like mini, like this big on a little tiny bread. You'd have to put the bread under a microscope. So it was very small.
All right. So it wasn't bad. Okay.
That wasn't bad. I had some cheese, goat cheese, regular cheese.
Small portions, right? I'm assuming.
Small portions. Lunch today, like I said, I went to a restaurant called the Little Food Inn. And I had a salad. It was called the what they call it, the gyro. I said, can we 86 the gyro part? Well, just made a salad with the steak, tomato, and the salad, and some feta cheese.
One of my favorites.
Tonight, I'm probably just going to have a chicken noodle soup.
All right, listen, John, you're gonna make me hungry, and I'm still on the show here. So I need to last longer here. So I want to go back to a couple of things that you covered. I mean,
that?
I know we we love the drama here, and then we talked about live and perspective and drama. But you're right, the stuff that you've covered, it is important for people to realize that just because you're a brand name doesn't make you the best thing out there. You need to do your due diligence. You need to speak up for yourself and speak up for when you have an issue, and make sure that you make some, I guess, little waves to get things done. And unfortunately,
I think that's key, HH. But what's also key, and I've been learning this. I always hired again. Also, I try to bring interns in. Now, interns, we don't pay interns typically. They come in and they get knowledge, and it's a process hiring interns and hiring staff. Right? It's not easy. So we use automated systems to do that so that they get through a funnel. And then if they get through a certain part of the funnel, then I kind of get bothered to do the next step, which is the video interview. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people, we pass them to the next stage, which is stage 3, which is an in-person interview. Within a few days, you get a message saying they're canceling, or I found another job. Or the thing is, I think what people realize, and I'm happy about this, is that I put them through this ringer for one reason, HH, and that is because I want people to understand the culture they're getting involved in. And I tell people, you're not working here just to get some knowledge. You're working here to see how you can improve our company. And I think what happens is a lot of these people, they go from a possible internship to learning some really creative stuff to, well, I just got a job somewhere. And it's like they sold their soul. You have a really great interview, but you almost could tell some of these people that they're not going to make it. They seem interesting, or, you show them your content, like, wow, you do all that kind of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. And a lot of people don't want to make an impact on the world. They just want to make money.
Well, someone can argue that, you have to work to make the money, you have bills.
I respect that. But if you're in an educational facility and you're learning something, I had another intern who was with me for, I'm going to say a month. He's supposed to be with me for 6 months. Mm-hmm. The other day, he sent me a message. He says, oh, by the way, I've been with you for 6 weeks. Not really, a little bit under 6 weeks. And I really got to start focusing on my career now. Not even 6 weeks. And he thinks he's ready to go to the career stage. See, I think what happens is they get a little bit of confidence and cocky that they can do it, which is good, but they're not ready yet, HH. They're not ready. They had a taste of one thing. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people coming into a job or internship, it's hard to find the people that want to make an impact like we do. And no pun intended there, but like I ask the people, and here's what I do with them. After the first video interview, I say, look, I think we're going to move you on to the second interview, which is an in-person interview. Then after that, we do an in-person practical interview. So in the first in-person, we say, hey, here's some of our content. Here's some stuff. I want you to take a look at it. See what you do to tweak it, or what would you do to make it better? Then come back, schedule a time, and we'll do a practical interview. A lot of people don't want to go through these extra 2 hours, HH.
Well, so let's talk about that. There's a couple pointers that I'd like to highlight. Well, one, someone can listening right now can say, well, what's wrong with that, John? It's my career is important, and I see myself ambitious enough to want to move on. And to that, I would say, well, listen, it is a choice, and people make decisions at any given time. And if that's, what you see fit at this point, good luck, right? That would be my thing. Hey, let's see how it works for you. The grass is never greener on the other side, as we say, right? But then the other part is you just mentioned something about the test. There's a couple, especially to your point, when somebody is at an entry level, still learning, and they're not willing to do that. Well, there's two schools of thought there. One, probably someone says, well, you're probably going to take my knowledge here on this interview. You're never going to give me an opportunity. So there's that. Remember, we talk about perspective and how people start thinking, right? And they may think that, this is a trick, and why would I waste 2 hours? But someone can see the value of that. Listen, I'm going to impress John, and I want to guarantee my thing here, and I want to learn in this place. And yes, I'm going to spend a few days.
That's exactly the piece. And then what I say to them, if they get to the, I'm like this one kid came in and he didn't do the homework. I said, go through the content, yada, 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 yada. And I said to him, did you go through watch any of my shows? Did you watch any of the content? Oh, no. I kind of thumbed through it, but I really didn't have a chance to go through it. Remember I said to go through it and then schedule time? So he came here. I was meeting with him for 10 minutes. I said, look, I don't want to waste your time. I said, but this interview is going to be over very quickly because you didn't do your place. No, you're right. Then a week later, he's supposed to reschedule. You know what happens? You know what, buddy? I got a job somewhere else, but thank you. Good luck to you. I hope you find what you're looking for.
Well, John, this is actually a larger problem, I think, that's happening worldwide. And I know for a fact this is not just you or me or our industries. I think we've been talking about this at work, the capabilities or the caliber of people right now that we're experiencing in terms of who wants to work and choices. It is almost a pandemic on its own. People are actually not wanting to take a job or even showing up at an interview. It's been notorious these days where people don't even show up. Believe it or not, people are getting start dates and hire dates, and they don't show up to their first date.
And they don't show up for work.
Yeah. So I can tell you this is dangerously bad. Like we just had. I was with a couple of friends the other day, and we had the same question. Like, how do they survive? If nobody's working, why the hell? How do they pay the bills? I can tell you, the younger folks are probably living home. So the expenses are pretty much prepaid. So there's no such thing as overhead. So maybe they can afford that. But some people may need to work somewhere. Now, ultimately, people today with technology and throughout the pandemic, the real pandemic, we've experienced that Zoom and other types of online opportunities have emerged, and a lot of people, a lot of opportunities and companies now just allow people to just work remotely, nothing else. But to your point, if someone is got that demeanor, for an interview and not able to even follow instructions and do the due diligence, why would you even hire them? Right? If they're not able to respond to basic things that is part of their job description, or at least what your expectation, from them is. Now, I get it. If you are like a super notch, top notch expertise, blah blah blah, and someone gives you a little homework, you might say, what, dude? I mean, that's an insult, right? But in this case, you are still new. You're still learning. You want to get into a company, absorb what you can, and take it on the road if you want. That's fine. Maybe an opportunity to grow within. I mean, career paths are great, and you can either do it within a company or you can find another path. Early on, 30 years ago, when I started, then I started moving up. I had one rule: it's up or to the right or to the left, but never back. Right. So you just keep going until you keep going to that ladder. Right. You move up the ladder somewhere, and you did it. But that's what I did. And I've learned, I absorbed. I mean, I was willing to take, you tell me, this is the job. I want to say, give me another job in addition to that, because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to be an expert in almost every aspect that touched my business. And that's, again, I'm not saying I'm the best here, but I'm just saying that's a practice that I had that helped me throughout my life. And
absolutely. It's going to help it helps you now, and it helps you, still keeps helping you. But, somebody that you've kind of mentored a little bit, you've helped them a little bit, and then for them to not even give you the full 6 months when that was the intention. And you know what it is? They started to realize that in the beginning they were being sloppy. And you're starting to catch them on things like it needs to be like this, like this. Like their idea of doing something is, so let me just throw it together. Like, no, that's not going to be accepted. And see, I think, and so what they don't realize is that now if they come back to me and say, hey, John, I want a recommendation. Well, I don't want to be nasty, but I would just say, the student helped us with some introductions and has potential, but there's still a lot more than he needs to learn, to be positive about it. But I think sometimes, they sit there and they're like, well, I've been doing all this stuff. They don't realize you got to put the time in, right? You got to put that time in.
Listen, everything in life, right? You got to put the time. In order for us to walk as kids, we take some time to actually really master walking, right? Military, you got to do your boot camp and get in, right? That's how you start and get it tough first before this way everything else becomes easy. But you're right. People today, I think what the challenge is that there's a sense of entitlement. There's a sense of like, I got this. Once I know 2 items, like, a cup is really just one drop in. I think I know the world. And they don't foresee that, there's so much available, so much knowledge available to them. And, they're hasty about things, right? They're not, taking, a good meal cooks over time. It doesn't cook quickly. And you can put in one of those pressure cookers, but it's not going to taste the same as something that is taking its own time to really marinate and think. But the fact is, that's life, right? In business, a lot of people may not have that vision. Like, especially, unfortunately, I don't know, but it's today's generation. I have observed that myself. And it's just there's a different level of I guess how they see the business world, how they see employment, how they see things, and therefore their reaction is totally different. I mean, it's like, oh, I got this. No, you don't. Like I've had a similar experience where I had somebody, and I had asked them, "This is what I need you to do," and he says, "No, I'm not going to do it this way." I was like, "No, I need you to do it that way. You don't know why I need it." So I don't have time to explain to you why I need it this way, but this is what I need. This is not where I need your opinion about it, because it's not about an opinion. It was something that I needed for a particular review that I need, and I have a way to do certain things that I needed to just get that information. I just need information from you, and that was your job. But I didn't ask for you to have input about it. I just asked 1, 2, 3 ABCs. Give me the ABCs. Now, if there is a project where I need input, of course I need input, and I'm not knowing all. I need people to give me them stuff. But eventually that person left in about a week. We didn't say eye to eye, literally, because and I I don't have to explain. Sometimes, in the business, it's not a democracy. It's not like I have to ask for stuff. Sometimes you have to give directives and you delegate tasks, and I need it done. And I need it done in a particular format. It's not. Now, if you can tell me, well, we can do a better format, impress me, that's okay. But don't tell me that, why do we need this? Why do we need it? I know why I don't need it. You don't. And you don't need to know. And sometimes that's actually a challenge. And they don't get that.
I agree.
It's like, being in the military, right? And I give the analogy, I use military training all the time. You get a directive. You're not going to say like, well, why do we have to do this? Don't worry about it. We got that strategy. You just have to execute on the exact commands, and then the rest will be, everybody's going to do their part, and it's going to come back. And we get, just like a building, everyone comes in and there's a piece before you see that piece of work, in front of you, right? And so you don't know the big picture. You don't see the architecture, you don't see even the projections until it's in front of you. Like, oh my God, this is looking good. Well, same thing here. But unfortunately, you have that sense of like, I got this. I know, they're not taking full advantage of me. We will take full advantage of you because you're talented. Great. But there's a time and a place for everything. There's a way also to interact with these things. And again, to your point, somebody that you're given a chance and you give them a pad to learn, and they just bail on you, that's kind of like, not very acceptable. But again, for audiences out there, this is not a critique or anything, but just be aware. And also talking about perception, don't have your own perception in general, judging others, because it is always going to be their view versus yours. That's just going to be the case. But you have to anticipate, what do these people want from me and how can I benefit from them? At the end of the day, it's all about you. We get it. Everybody out there, it's all about number one. Number one is always you. That's there's no doubt. John is about John. Me, it's about me. But that doesn't mean we can't work together. We don't support each other. That's how it works. The business world works that way. We all kind of cooperate somehow and work. This is a show that's mutual, right? But we benefit from it both. But at the end of the day, we help each other. Sure. So I understand that rule. But the fact that people, and again, from audiences here, we just want to send you the message that you're not wrong and you're not always right. And that's that. None of us is one way or the other. We can be wrong all the time. We can be right all the time. It's just a matter of understanding what the angle is and see the value. Now, obviously, there is one old word expression that we use: never burn a bridge.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
And when you're in an specific industry, such as yours or mine or any other industry, the same people are going to be around the industry for at least 20, 30, 40 years. And so if you burn a bridge, talking about reference letter or recommendation, that's not going to look good when someone says, hey, John, what do you think of the other John? He just bailed on me. All I have to say is that, and it's over, right? Now, I'm not talking about these that HR approved,
that's a whole different story. This is just kind of like an off the cuff.
Exactly.
But I know that when you bring them in, you have the questions and, you say, look, this is what we're going to do. And you have them sign all this paperwork, but nowhere in there do I have them sign that you have to stay here 3 months or 6 months, which might be a good thing, because if I'm going to invest time into people and train them and start showing them things, they don't realize. So the excuse I got from the one person was, well, hey, John, I'm going to finish up this week and I'll finish this up and then I'm going to go. That was the way I was told that the person was finishing. They should have let me go a month. I'm like, hey, John, I'm wrapping up in 2 weeks. What else do you need done? Right? Not, hey, this is my last week, so I'm going to bang that out, and then I'm going to start looking for a job.
But John, you're lucky. At least you gave you that week notice, because some people will just bail on you the same day and not show up.
Really?
Oh, I've seen that happen. They just don't show up. That's it. They're gone. It's so sad. I'm telling you, like, the work ethics these days is just down the drain. It's not like what you probably used to.
No.
People, when you work, there's loyalty, there's trust, there's many things. There's none of that anymore. And I think the sad part is actually sometimes both ways now. Companies and people are the same. Loyalty is gone, and people don't. You are being used one way or the other, and you use the other one way or the other. And unfortunately, that's been more common now than ever. And it is a sad trend, but it is reality. At least in the States, I think it is very, very common. Maybe I'm wrong. And you know what? Again, if I'm wrong, you guys can send us some comments and some advice about that as well. And, we'll be more than happy to tackle it at the next show. But really, it is a debatable discussion, obviously. But I'm talking about 27 years of managing and leading, and I can tell you, it's been rough. For the last few years, it's been worse and worse. And after the pandemic, it's even just got to the lowest level you can possibly imagine. At least in my industry, it's been like that. And again, I'm pretty sure it's not just in the health insurance or sales world. I mean, I think it's a lot of industries. I hear it, from everybody. I mean, it's different industries, like real estate, you name it. You're in the media, you're doing the marketing and all stuff. It's happening all over. So it is tough, and hopefully we'll change this for better, and we'll capture a little bit more of the essence of like ethics at work and just doing the right thing. Yeah, that's key.
So I want to reach out something, but I don't want to give a name of a company, but I want to just explain to you how integrity is important, and this I think is really important tonight. So there are a lot of companies that do marketing or advertising. It doesn't matter what they do. This doesn't matter. But here's the thing: just because you have something like that posh Porsche or that really pristine looking picture. You see, that doesn't mean that the company is as top. Just like I was telling you with like these big computer mass stores, I told you that. So just to give an example, of course, the company's always going to have great recommendations from themselves, or they're going to pay their friends. Hey, Jim is great. Mike's great. Oh, they spend some. That's the wrong thing to do. You want to get honest reviews. Okay. So what happens is these kind of people, they kind of grow, but then you start to get negative feedback like this. Just to share with you, not the person's name, but I just want to share with you. The owner is volatile. He's more concerned with selling ads on his services than projects at hand. Long story short, he threw a fit when I walked off the project and kept my money. I paid him a fortune for a website. Then he lied to me after he knew I wasn't going to spend any more money on advertising. I'm out of time. I invested to find this company and trusted that they would help me. They didn't. Nothing to show for the $3,100 plus that I kept spending and more. Do yourselves a favor. Find a company that is professional and cares about you and your business. Now you have another person as well. We were struggling and we made it with them. So this is the thing. You can always get these companies because you did something nice for them to write a review. See, I don't want those reviews. I want the reviews from people like you and other companies that, they entrust what we do. Like I work with a company that does corporate environmental protection. So my IT company does all kinds of IT, tech, security, access control, cameras. They like that. They do corporate executive protection, CEP. So we connected a while back because they knew I do IT and I do cyber fraud, and I told about my cases. And see, that means more than if I have 100 people say, hey, John's amazing at cyber fraud. Having a company that deals with the Giants, the Jets, other sports arenas, and big corporate organizations, that means more that company said, hey, you should talk to John. He wants to give you value. And one of the things I think that's really important, HH, and you probably agree with this, is that it's important to be transparent so that when I say to somebody, look, this is what it's going to cost. This is approximately the time. It's not exact. This is approximate. Or, hey, by the way, we're running over this time thing. It's going to cost you some more. I just want to let you know what else you want me to do. Do you want me to shave anything off? Where do you want me to go here? It's going to be tight. I'm going to try to fit it in. I don't think I can, but I just want to let you know so you know where we are. After this, I have to stop. And I think those are key attributes. I don't care how young or how old you are, that are vital in the business market. Because you see, you can get up to the top by what I call floundering or what I call browbeating. Now, what does that mean? That means that you got up to the top because you did favors for people. Oh, yeah, he's a great guy. He did this, he did that. That's not how I want to earn my reputation. I want to earn my reputation that, hey, John's a stand-up guy. This is what he says. This is what he does. But don't just take my word for it. Talk to one of our clients. See, and I think that's the problem, especially when you're building a brand. You know what I'm saying? Everybody thinks that if you build something that is larger than life, that they're the best. But I have to say, it's that uniqueness. You see, it's something you can't put in copy all the time. When you're trying to create a brand for a company or you're trying to create copy, you can't always put that down into words when you're trying to sell the concept. People have to experience the way you work. And I use a real popular one, which I came up with not too long ago at 2:30 a.m. one morning. We might just be parking your car tonight. We'll always choose the right client. So I tell people that when you can have a passion for where you want to go, but where your clients want to go, they're going to want to invest in you. Why? Because they know that you are interested in their future. Now, I didn't say that you want to grow their company. I didn't say that you want to get them business. No, that's important. That's assumed. You are interested in the success of their future. Being interested is different than saying, I want to bring you sales. Dale Carnegie said it many years ago, HH. The two most important things in life with people: get to know their freaking name. He didn't say it that way. And learn their name properly and how to say it, or ask them how to say it. And then make sure you strive to become genuinely interested in other people. You know, you can live life every day, or you can thrive in life every day. Living means that we're going to breathe and we're going to do everything that we like to do. But when we thrive in life, we're not only going to enjoy the fruits from our labor, but other people are going to be getting in line and saying, hey, can I have a slice of watermelon? Can I have a piece of that too? That's the difference when you live a life of passion and purpose, as opposed to someone that's, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. But if you have nothing up your sleeve, eventually people are going to get tired of looking everywhere for you, aren't they?
Right. Well, you know, it's amazing. You talked about transparency and you know, just being clear on the expectations, and you know, no sugarcoating. I mean, this is what it is, and you know, things can happen, and you have to be upfront with people, and so that builds trust, and you have to deliver, of course. And again, you and I before started, we wanted to touch on the habits, right? And trends on habits.
We didn't even get there yet.
Yeah, well, this is a perfect segue to it, because it is part of learning certain things that can help you, you know, build better habits, right? You know, and so let's talk about that, because I think it is a, you know, an important piece of business.
So I know we only have a little time before the end of our show, but basically, how many of you out there remember Pavlov? You remember Pavlov and the dog?
Vaguely.
All right. So Pavlov and the dog. All right. Pavlov, the scientist. So he had this dog, and he gave the dog a piece of meat. Okay. Dog ate the meat. The dog salivated. Every time he gave the dog the meat, the dog salivated. It was like this thing that happened all the time. So he said, what if I could take the bell and I could ring the bell while he's eating the meat? So he took the bell and he rang it while the dog was eating the meat. Not just once, not just twice, but several times. After he did that, he didn't present the dog the meat anymore. He just rang the bell. And then at a classical conditioning, the dog automatically salivated. So forming a habit is something we should do to make our lives easier. So our brain works automatically to handle those mundane tasks, so we can focus on more important, purposeful tasks.
Love it.
The challenge is some people get too entrenched in negative tasks. We won't get into that today, but so building a task is really simple. There is a trigger. There's a repetitive behavior, okay, that happens from the stimulus. Pretty simple, right? So you might be saying to me, John, how do I form a good habit? How do I form a good, how do I form a habit? I mean, it could be studying. It really could be anything. So you set a goal, you create this cue, right? In this case was the bell, and you make it fun and you keep repeating it. Let's say, for example, I don't know, you want to do exercises. Great. Do the exercises, and maybe you can create a cue that, after the exercise, maybe you get something. But the whole point is that when you exercise, I don't know, maybe you get to put on your favorite warm-up suit, or you get to go to a certain gym, something that causes you to want to do it. Maybe you don't like baking, but you have to bake. So the best way to bake would be like with the highest end of equipment, books from the most famous chef, pastry chef. So like we talked about the dog, we create a conditioning. So let's say studying. How can we create a good study habit? Well, that's pretty easy to do. You're lazy, you don't want to study. And you're not motivated by the fact of getting a good grade and what that'll do for you. That's one thing that should help you. But if it doesn't, then what you need to do is figure out what's going to get you to study. So what's going to get you to study is maybe something fun. Maybe you bought this new smart pen that actually lets you read certain words, and you could store that in your phone. So you could use technology as a way to build a habit. Oh my gosh, every time I have that pen, I got to read it. I got to read everything when I have that pen. Now, we didn't really change the reading, but we made reading fun. We made it more flexible. We adapted how it worked. Maybe you need to drive a lot in your work, but you don't like driving. Great. Why don't you just turn your car into a university on wheels? And suddenly you'll start enjoying driving. You see, when we play with our mind, things get fun. And when they become fun, we want to learn. We want to release more dopamine in our brain so that we can do these things. And then you get through them. It's like, wait a minute. Did I just do that? Yeah, I did. And it's like, oh, I could do that. That's easy. Like I remember the first time I was doing a plank. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. So I'm like, let me just start with 30 seconds. And I start with 30 seconds and I'm like, I can do 30 seconds. And every day I got motivated to do 30 seconds, then do 45 seconds, then do 60, up to 3 minutes. So what motivated me? What motivated me was, so I did it usually with my shirt off, and I got it to the fact holding my stomach in and the way I looked. And what motivated me to keep doing it was being healthy, but how great I was looking. And I knew that if I worked on my core, which is the most important part of the body you can work on, everything else will follow. So in your life, if you work on the core of what you want, everything else will follow. If you work on the core of your body, like your stomach, everything else just sort of falls in line. Now, not overnight, but even the habit of, the way I was eating, that's a habit. How did I get into that? Because I loved having all these sweets. I said, you know what? I could still have the sweets, but I'm going to moderate them. And by doing this, I'm going to be able to appreciate a better, healthier looking, attractive body. I just kept doing that over and over again. It's like, oh, that's right. Oh, got to log my food. Oh, got to do this. Got to do that. Like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I enjoy logging my food. Oh my gosh. So if you make a process fun, right, you'll do it all day long. If I told you that you have to fold, I don't know, 1,000 brochures, but you hate folding brochures. But now I suddenly get you to fold each one to a jam song. Oh my gosh, give me some more. I want to fold some more. Oh, this is so much fun. Let's have a folding party, right? I know it sounds crazy, but you get my point. Maybe you want to go walk outside and you hate walking. All right, well, download those favorite tunes or that favorite University on Feet. And now when I enter the pavement, I'm entering into my mobile intelligence zone.
John, I mean, you're talking about some very basic stuff that a lot of people probably know about, but at the same time, many don't apply. And I think that's the challenge. we know about the habit piece. We know about the patterns. We need that, but it takes commitment. It takes discipline. And to your point, it takes a system in place because you need to put these parameters, things that you're going to use, your metrics, and then strategically and gradually work one at a time. Because to your point,
I have a segue to that, but not too long because we're almost out of time.
Okay.
I put a poll up the other week. Didn't get a lot of responses. Do you know the difference between paid, earned, and owned media? Only about 10 people responded to that. Okay. It was a 50-50. But my point is that, you see, people don't react to things that they don't know about.
Fair.
Everyone in social media thinks that it's all about, the shares, or it's about the likes. And although that's important, it's not important. They're vanity metrics. They're not return on investments. So because our society has brainwashed people, okay, that happens. And same thing I was telling you about this organization I was telling you about. I don't want to say they're brainwashing people, but what they're doing is they're getting high-end people to talk about what they do. But here's what's dangerous about that. These people are talking about how great you are. But when you can't live up to that on your own, what's going to happen? Those people are going to fall away.
And it gets worse for you.
Gets worse for you. And now you try to charge more money and charge this and charge that. And you got people upset.
You can build 10 years, good rep, and then you can destroy it overnight. And that's.
Oh, you can destroy it like that. As I said on one of my videos, like this, I had a fire coming from my finger in a fraction of a second.
Well, that's actually a big, something that we have to be aware of. It doesn't matter in person, in business. Your reputation counts, and you got to do it correctly. Be transparent, as you said. Be a lot, very, lucid with people, clear about everything. Deliver, and the rest is history. And maintain
over promise, under deliver.
There you go. That actually never fails.
It never fails. And when I said to the guy, I was working on this case, and I told him to do something. I was waiting for something, and
John, I think we flipped this. It's under promise and over deliver, right?
It's under promise and over deliver. Yeah, getting zealous there. So this guy, I had done that, and I said, "You're not going to get a response until probably next week." He calls me back on Saturday. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what happened." They called me back and said, "Why are you filing a complaint against us? What's wrong?" "Well, you're not returning my phone calls." "Well, yeah, but nothing." And he's like, well, who's this? So, and he was respectful. He wasn't like, who's this kid? It's that fraud investigator. He's like, well, who is the fraud investigator? Is this guy on the letter? Yeah, that's him. Oh, okay. Well, what does he want? Well, he wants the issue resolved. Oh, okay. It might take us a week. Well, he said it's not going to wait a week. Well, what do you mean it's not going to wait a week? He said to tell you that he's going to give you till Friday. And if we don't have a written resolution by Friday, he's thinking about pulling the trigger for another complaint. Really? Yeah. Holy.
Well, sometimes you got to twist, the arms and make sure that people know that that's the thing. People take things for granted, and because they believe that no one's going to take the necessary steps. And all it takes is one person who will go through the extreme.
Oh, and I go through every I and every T, and I make sure it's dotted. And let's just say the people at the F company, the G company, all the other companies, they don't like me because I get right to their board of directors. My letters go right to the company head, and it goes to the head of the board of directors. And if they still fool around with me, you know what I do? I go to the board of directors for the person who says, "Hey, Michael, I know Kevin sits on this board. I can't seem to reach him. He sits on the other board. Could you get a message to him for me?"
Well, not everybody knows how to do that or to do that.
It takes a little bit of strategy. And for me, it's natural because I went through pre-law and I decided I couldn't lie to people for a living. That's why I become a lawyer.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but there are good lawyers out there, I would say.
there are, but I couldn't lie. I just knew how it worked. There are a lot that twist that truth around. They do twist it a little bit too much.
Well, I always say, I mean, and it's pretty known out there, you don't always get the justice in court, you get the law, and the law it's got loopholes. And depends on the perspective of who's, you can turn a criminal to a free, person and vice versa, right? So that's what the law does. But you're right. I mean, there's some lying that can take place. And again, this is all about, also, you talked about integrity, transparency.
And it's also about the fact that people believe you don't say something, you're not lying. Well, actually, you are lying. You're lying by omission.
Admitting, yes, correct. I mean, that's admitting, a fact is almost twisting the fact.
Or holding that there is no fact when you know there's a fact. You forgot to tell me that your client owned the whole mall before that. Oh, I guess I left that part out. My mistake. Sorry about that, Your Honor.
Well, again, that's why both parties do the due diligence, and they dig deep until they find, what's going to be the trigger point and the turning point in a juror's concept, right? It's crazy, but that's how life is. But I have to admire your personality in terms of like going after, the source of the problem and really taking whatever it takes. I mean, you don't back down. You just keep going until you get what you need, and that's actually a trait that sometimes is lost. A lot of people are not willing to confront, because to your point, you may not get liked as much when you do that, and sometimes that can be, I guess, detrimental. It can be problematic, and some people don't want to do that. Conflict, right? People don't like the conflict, and the majority of people try to avoid conflict. Not that I know you don't like conflict, but you do. When you're faced with a conflict, you deal with it, and that's a different story. So you have to face it heads on, and that's it. And that's again admirable. But for audiences, folks, I mean, listen, what we say on the show is opinionated, correct, but you can get the best of it and make it your own way and take it out there. I mean, you can pick one piece here, one piece there, and put it together and become your own magic formula. But whatever works for you, whatever suits you, apply it correctly. But understand that we're sharing with you guys some, between us, I think we have a good. I would go there. I mean, we're close to a century maybe together of wisdom here. So we might shed a light on a few things here and there.
And we might actually help you in whatever situation you have, because between the two of us, we do have a lot of business and personal experience.
And that's really the main thing. Again, the impact, that's called double impact for a reason, right? We picked that one for that purpose, is that we'd like to at least give you something to think about. That's the other thing. That's the easy. Like in sales, it's very easy. You don't have to make a deal right now, but think about it and do it later. Now, obviously, we want to close this, but the close is the close for you is that you will make a decision, and you will be the right decision because it will be an informed decision.
All clients out there, whether you're doing X, Y, or Z, I always say that you're not trying to sell a product. All we're trying to do is have a conversation. And when we have the conversation, we're trying to learn about people's pain points. And when we learn about those pain points, we see how we can solve that problem. And then people want to do business with us.
And with those words, we're going to wrap this one, John, right?
I think so.
All right. Well, listen, folks, John started the show. I'm going to close it. And folks, it was really great having, this discussion. We've covered quite a few pointers here. And again, take what you want. It is a buffet of information. Take, as much or as little. It's all good.
It's all calorie free, folks. So you can take it all. You can take as many helpings as you want. There's no calories tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? Worst case, you can just enjoy the show for fun and just, you can just laugh at us. It's all good. But the bottom line is, it is a win-win. Sometimes we pick something that we don't even pay mind to until 10 years from now. It's like, damn, I heard that thing. Where did I hear that thing? Oh.
You'll be sitting in the restroom, or you'll be sitting in the restaurant and saying, who said that? HH or John? That's right. I heard one of those guys saying something like that. Keeps echoing in my head. What are they saying now?
Well, listen, folks, again, we're trying to be funny a little bit. And, it's just, this is real. This is not orchestrated, as we say. This is not scripted. We're winging it out, with you guys in mind, and just sharing some valuable pieces of lessons that we've experienced ourselves, or at least things that we see from a business perspective or personal one, for that matter. Anyways, we can mumble for another half hour easily. So that being said, it's been real. I'm Hurricane H, with me.
And I'm John C. Morley. And together we are
Double Impact, baby.
Double Impact. We'll
That's
catch you next Monday, everyone.
Next Monday. And in a couple of weeks, we're probably going to go live. So, stay tuned for that and then get your questions and hop on and let's have a discussion.
That sounds awesome. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.